Greetings and welcome to this edition of the Global Healing Network. I'm your host, Dr. Kamal Kokai, and I'm joined here by my good friend and colleague, Jeffrey Noble. Jeffrey has some really interesting healing skills. He's a master of neurolinguistic programming as well as pranic healing. In fact, one of the clients that he's helped is actually featured on Facebook on Profiles in Global Healing. You can hear about that experience. But many of you probably don't know what pranic healing is. And within the medical field, there's a big divide when we go from mechanical, chemical, into things that work more on an energetic level. And, seeing and experiencing is believing, because then nobody can tell you, well, that's impossible. How do people project energy? So anyone that's experienced things like Reiki, Qigong, reconnective healing, and pranic healing will actually know that this is a serious healing art and discipline. So, as with all practitioners that come in, I say, hey, give us a sample of a case, somebody that you've actually helped, so people can get an idea of what you do and talk about it from the standpoint of a practitioner. What is it that you're feeling, sensing, and doing?
Well, since you mentioned the guy that's on profiles and healing, profiles
and global healing,
let's talk about. I don't remember the young man's name, but I do remember he came in and he had somewhat of a. I don't know what he came in for, but I remember he had when I was sensing his scanning his energy body, and what I'm scanning for when I'm moving my hands is blockages or disruption in the energy field, or where it may go from cold to warm, or it may go from smooth to rough, or it may go from just going straight down to also I feel a lump in the energy field. And those things are indications to me that there's some type of blockage in the energy field. So the particular young man we're talking about,
he had an anxiety disorder.
Okay, anxiety disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this young man, I was scanning his body, because we learn to sensitize our hands to be able to scan someone's body, their energy body. And I felt like a little resonance off in his chest area. So I said, what's happening in the chest area? I feel something there. And at first he didn't remember anything. Then if he thought about it further, he remembered an incident that happened in his life, and it showed he had felt that pain since then. So what I did is, through sweeping his body and cleansing that area, I would begin to let the energy flow through that area again. And then I cleanse his energy centers around that area also, because if anyone has a blockage in any one part of their body, their energy centers called chakras that are also off balance or being blocked.
So part of what I'm hearing is that he had a sensation, something that was that he perceived in his structure, but the actual problem wasn't so much in his tissues as it was within the energy field of the body.
Right.
And then in correcting the energy field, it released the tension, and somehow that actually helped to release the anxiety, because his report was that his anxiety was so much better after trying any number of things. And yeah, he remembered after the fact about the energy, about, I don't know if it was an injury or I forgot what he related, but something that he had felt this blockage.
Right.
But the big thing was that his anxiety was actually addressed, and it sounded like for the first time in a long time he felt like his old self.
Right, that's exactly what he said. For the first time, I forgot how many years. It's been over a decade now,
Right.
I think he said. They felt like his old self again, because that energy was stuck right there in that particular in his particular area of his chest. And he just thought that it was something structurally.
Right.
Oh, right.
No, I'm saying your work and the fact that, we've seen in any number of cases where people actually respond to work within their energy field. They have physiologic complaints, functional complaints that respond just to work within the energy field.
Well, we always say that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. But this work is really an example of that. Because we're working in the spiritual body, the electromagnetic field, whatever you want to term it, we're working in that field that you cannot see. But that is really what affects the body.
Even scientists recognize that that as you move off the body, there are different levels of this field. I mean, there's an artificial division, so we say that the biofield is in the first 4 inches, and then the psychological or the mind field is like 4 to 18 inches or so. But the idea is that these fields are also informational.
Yes.
Right. They're informational. And in the same way that a muscle can get a cramp, you can get a cramp or blockage in your energy field.
Well, the physical muscle cannot get a cramp without there being disturbance in energy field.
Okay. And that's an excellent way to say that. Any other cases that come to mind?
Well, there's a woman that I like to talk about a little bit. She was introduced to me by another doctor, and she was having chemotherapy treatments. And when she called me and told me this doctor told her to call me, she said, I cannot come to New York to receive these treatments. So how are we going to do this? And I said, well, I can do it over the telephone. And she was very skeptical about me doing it over the telephone. So I said, well, let's do this. I said, let me work with you tonight. You said that your pain starts again in the morning. If the pain does not start in the morning, you know it worked.
Right. So in regular medicine, they would say there was a huge placebo effect. And placebo is a totally unscientific term, and it doesn't mean anything. So from your end, let's put the placebo effect out the way because it doesn't mean anything. From your end, what was it? What did you actually do, perceive, and what happened?
Well, it's funny you said the placebo effect because she said the next morning, well, it was probably because I took my pain pill late in the evening anyway. That's why I didn't feel any pain in the morning. So I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's wait till the next night. I'm not going to work with you at all. And let's see what happens.
Right.
So the next night I didn't work with her at all. And next morning she woke up with pain.
Right.
So based on that, she decided to give it a try.
Right.
And I would say that her symptoms from chemotherapy were 85% reduced from the work I've done with her. She has a videotape actually pointing out everything, including her blood levels that were dropping quite a bit. They stabilized and normalized.
Right.
What do you call it? The peripheral pain you have?
Peripheral neuropathy.
Right.
Right.
That went down 85%. She had ringing in her ear. That went down about 75%. So her whole body was better off with me working with her while she was going through chemotherapy treatments than it was before I started working with her.
You know, there's a place where we have to begin to move from biochemistry to biophysics and really understanding the body and the human energy field in light of modern science. So when regular doctors talk about modern science, they're usually talking about modern pharmacology and, things of that nature. They're not talking about the impact of physics and understanding electromagnetic fields and understanding all the ways that energetically a person's body and energy field can be affected. Now, the idea of distance healing is so far removed from Western allopathic medicine that most people will dismiss it. But in many cultures, both ancient and present, this understanding is held by those cultures and people are actually trained. So why don't you say something about your training, so people can get an idea? Because one thing that I've tried to emphasize to folks is that most people, practically everybody, is capable of learning this kind of discipline and actually utilizing it to a degree. Now, you may not be an NBA basketball player, but you might make it to the college ranks, in terms of your skills, right? So how did you develop this?
Well, first of all, I believe that anyone can heal. First of all, you have to realize that the body heals itself. Only thing energetic medicine does is create the environment for the chi to flow through the body, or energy to flow through the body, or prana to flow through the body, so the body can heal itself. There's this big belief, especially in religious circles, that you have to have the gift of healing to be able to heal. And there are people who are gifted healers. But healing can also be learned when it's done very methodically through a system that's been developed over a number of years. I've been doing energy medicine since 1994. I've been doing neurolinguistic programming since 1988. So between both of these sciences, I've been doing this for close to 30 years now. And I think that anyone can learn to do it, as I said a moment ago. The best way is to go take a course somewhere. Whether it's Reiki, whether it's healing touch, therapeutic touch.
Well, but let's talk about that, because it seems like different cultures, whether we talk about Reiki, whether we talk about Qigong, talk about the spiritual tradition or the the tradition of pranic healing, I don't want to label it spiritual or anything, but the tradition that this was developed, where does this come from?
Well, the guy who discovered what he calls modern pranic healing is Master Choa Kasui. He's Filipino Chinese descent. Now, what he did was he went out and studied all the different sciences, medical qigong. He studied Reiki, he studied all the different sciences and took the best of all of them and combined them into a very codified system, which no other system that I know of has. Because of the fact that he included everything. There's actually a cookbook that's over 250 pages. I call it a cookbook, but it's really a recipe book that no matter what the person's ailment is, you can open this book and go step by step. And if you follow every step, even if you're not sensitized enough to feel the energy yet, if you just follow every step in the book, even if you can't feel the energy coming out of your hand, you will still get results.
I think that's the amazing thing as you take this on. I know in my own training with Qigong, when they talk about the Lao Gong, the point here in the middle of your palm, initially you feel like it's just make-believe.
Right.
You make-believe energy. But then it gets to a point where you can act, it's palpable. And then it becomes palpable to other people.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, wow, it just goes to a different level. So,
and it helps you grow spiritually a lot also, because when you learn these sciences also, what you learn also is to call on the spiritual guides, the angels, the ancestors, all those beings that we all talk about theoretically, but don't have any application to or call on practically.
So explain the interface there in terms of, here you are. Are you saying that you're channeling energy? Are you generating energy? How do these guides, how would they assist you in this kind of paradigm?
Well, for me, I feel a number of different things. When if I call for the help of the angels, I feel energy shift in my body. I feel like energy come into my body. And so when I'm energizing, sometimes I don't even feel like it's my hands. My hands are there, but it's like I'm channeling the energy through my hands into the person. As you know, I'm Christian. So I'll call upon the healing power of Jesus Christ to do things. And I felt my hands start tingling a little bit. Now, of course, my name is Jeff, not Jesus. So, but
lest we forget.
But I feel the energy shift in my body. So we all have access to this energy outside of ourselves. It's like with with remote healing.
Right.
The earth itself is a chakra. That's a whole other ball game. So we're all connected to the chakra of the earth. Every organization has chakras.
So speaking of chakras, can you talk a little bit about the energetic anatomy as you understand it within this paradigm of healing?
Chakras are I like to look at chakras as if that they're fans. And let's say you have your fan on high. So it's going really, really fast. But then sometimes you may want your fan on low, so it's going really, really slow.
Right.
Well, if the fan is on high all the time, meaning perfect health, but then it's on low sometimes, that part of your body where that fan is on low is having some issues. Okay. It's becoming congested or it's becoming depleted, meaning it don't have any energy in it.
Right.
And so the pranic healer does is by cleaning this energy in the spot where it's weak and energizes, it's like turn the fan back up to high again. So the body begins to heal itself.
In fact, let me reach behind me here.
He's reaching for something. It's chakra poster.
Oh, what did we find here? Can you, this is pretty clear. Can you say something about this chart?
This chart is the energetic anatomy, or what we call the spiritual anatomy. It's interesting that doctors have to know the physical anatomy, but there are not too many religious leaders that know the spiritual anatomy. This is the spiritual anatomy. If there's anything wrong in the physical body, I guarantee you, one of these energy centers in the spiritual anatomy is not operating properly or not optimized. So if you look at someplace like the solar plex area, the front and back solar plex area, that holds a lot of emotion. You know how sometimes when things happen to you and you're really upset and it's like you feel your stomach hurt, if your heart's been broken, it hurts in your stomach. Well, that means this fan now went from high to probably low. So, of course, if that continues to happen over and over again, you start developing gastrointestinal problems. You start developing problems in your heart even because this energy also flows up. So no matter what chakra I look at, if this chakra is too big, so it should be a certain size. If this energy center and this energy center is the same size, you got pain in your lower back or in your hips or something, and you could have high blood pressure. So these chakras interface with the physical body in a way that if these things are off, your physical body is off. If you keep your spiritual body cleansed, your physical body will stay healthy.
Now it says 11 major chakras. Most people talk about 7.
Right.
Right. So this is a further breakdown.
Yes, and they don't talk because in the 7 chakras they don't talk about the ones in the back also.
Right.
We have the ones in the back that they don't count. We have the Ming, the Min Ming, which is behind the navel that they don't usually count. They usually count the third eye or the forehead, but not both. So they're different in that way. Not only that, but there are a lot of minor energy centers that are not even listed here.
Right, and your joints and things.
Right, and those,
right,
so
right.
they're major. In this system, they're major chakras, which are the big ones here. They're minor chakras, which may be like in the hand. And then there's many chakras that would be in the fingertips. And it gives you a further breakdown, and it causes you to heal a lot faster, more powerfully, because you've worked with more detailed in the healing process.
That's pretty fascinating, and I would hope for some people, I'm sure this is an introduction. Some people maybe have heard of this or not familiar. And I know that you give all kind of classes. You're even in New York State, you can give CEU credits for nurses and other health professionals. Why don't you give some contact information for yourself? And for the audience viewing this, you can look on Profiles for Global Healing, because we're going to have a little profile of Jeffrey Noble, so you can find out more about him. But please share some information.
Well, to contact me is info@thenobletouch.com. Info@thenobletouch.com. That's NOBLETOUCH.com. And it's The Noble Touch, though. Also, you could go to my website at thenobletouch.com and contact me through that way also.
All right. Jeffrey, thank you.
Hey, man.
As always. Good.
Pleasure.
So, we love to heal folks.
Suffering is an option.
There you go. It's an option. All right. Y'all take care.
All right.